Okay, so today I want to talk about the past questions, exactly the L4M1 exam. And to be honest, then we don't have the specific question. In other words, then we only have the subjects, okay, what they asked in March, okay, the area that we know, and we don't have the specific question. Therefore, then don't expect that we have the specific question and we can give you the sample answer. Instead, then in this event, then I will try to address the error and how you can structure your answer to those errors, to those subjects. Okay, and from our observation and from the report of the student, then we know that in March 2024, we have 4 questions. Okay, every question, every F1 and F1 exam will have 4 questions. Okay, they are the same. The first question was on stakeholder management. The recap like the most challenging one in first chapter. The second question is about the relationship between compliance and added value outcome. Uh, Again, this is one of the most challenging, the most difficult topic in question number 2. And normally, then students fare poorly in this kind of question. The third question, quite standard. It was about centralized procurement structure, centralized procurement system. And the final question was on the legislation on public sector and the impact. As I said, unfortunately, we don't have the specific question. We only know the subjects per student report. So this is what we try to help you. And in this event, then I will try to outline what you can, how should you answer these questions. Okay, so this is the first question, stakeholder measurement. With this type of question, then always we have a scenario. And in this scenario, we have capitalized a specific project or a specific procurement opportunity, a purchase that we need to work on. And stakeholder measurement is a concept in project management. It is actually very important one. With procurement, then if you want to be successful in procurement job, then you need to know how to manage the stakeholders. This is very important part of the job. So this area is covered in study guide in the part 1.4. And with this kind of question, then always you may have very general approach like this. First, you need to identify the stakeholders. You need to identify the stakeholders. And we can try to do that by categorize them into internal, external, and connected stakeholders. And the stakeholder may be differ a bit in different projects or in different scenario. But anyway, then from scenario, from the question, then you can identify uh, who are the stakeholders and okay, and try to map out their power and interest. And this is the second step. In the second step, then we map the stakeholders based on power and interest. Based on power and interest. Okay. And this is the matrix. We call it as Menelo matrix, created by Mendeley. So it has a name. And this is a matrix based on power and interest. Therefore, we need to estimate the power interest of a stakeholder relative to the project. Okay. And finally, based on the categorization on the matrix, then we develop the communication strategy or plan and engage with the stakeholder differently. With Mendeley matrix, then this is a model that helps you to categorize and plan the communication strategy to different stakeholder. There are two axes. First, that is the power. The power is the influence of a stakeholder to the outcome of the project. Um, when the when the stakeholder has high power, it means that they have influence on the outcome. The power here may comes from their authority, but they may come from their influence as well, especially their soft power. Okay, so from scenario, from the project, from the description in the question, then you need to identify what can be their power. Okay, what can be their source power. Some stakeholder like senior management or the shareholder inherently because they have high position in the organization, then they have high power. But sometimes then related to the project, like in the project we have project manager or we have some expert, they tend to have high power as well because of their influence, not from their position, but from their influence, their ability to convince other people. They also have high power as well. Okay, so please remember that the power in this matrix is not just about their position, but also about their influence in the organization. Okay, they may have the ability to convene the senior management, and therefore they have high power as well, although their official position is not that high. And on the other axis, that is the interest. Um, it is also very relative. Some stakeholders will have high interest in the project because they because that is their main responsibility or their success depends on the outcome of the project. So we need to identify the level of interest of that stakeholder. Okay, based on the power and interest, then we have four quadrants, and we can categorize the stakeholder into these four groups. Minimal effort, keep informed, keep satisfied, and key player. With minimal effort, then we spend the least effort here. We spend the least energy here. Uh, Actually, then we just need to keep irregular communication. Okay, only notify about very important update of the project. With key informed, then they have high interest but low power. It means that then we need to tell them what they need to do and inform them about every decision that may have impact on their interest. With keep certified, then they have high power but low interest. It means that we need to keep them satisfied with the outcome. They don't care much about the process, but they care on the outcome. So we need to keep them satisfied with the outcome that we deliver. And with these stakeholders, then we try our best to keep them away from becoming the key player. We don't want to have any more key players, so we need to ensure the successful outcome of the project. And finally, with key players, since they both have high power and high interest, then the best way to engage with them is to include them in the decision-making panel and ask for their idea, ask for their opinion, regarding every decision in the project. Okay, that is the way that we can deal. That is the way that we can deal with the key player. All right. So the first question is on stakeholder management, and we need to apply Mandela's matrix here. Uh, However, then Mandela matrix is not the only part of this answer of the question to this answer to this kind of question. Instead, then you still need to have a process. You still need to have a process. First, identify the stakeholders. Second, apply the Mendelow's matrix. And then with each group of stakeholders, then we develop the communication plans and strategies. And then we can try to implement, okay, invest in the energy, invest the resources to manage these stakeholders. And finally, to ensure the added value outcome, then we need to improve and adjust. Over time, then the power and interest of stakeholder may change. So we need to monitor them and ensure that the plan is relevant and applicable to different types of stakeholder. Okay. Again, this kind of question already come with a scenario. So pay attention to the details in scenario. We need to ensure that every stakeholders will have relevant attention. Okay, so that is the first question. With the second question, then it was about the relationship between compliance to regulations and the achievement of added value outcome. Please note that depending on the wording of the question, then you need to answer them capitally differently. Uh, the relationship between compliance and positive outcome is capitalized two ways. Compliance may have deliver the positive outcome, but rigid compliance may ruin the positive outcome. So if the question is generally about the relationship, then we need to analyze both positive and negative impact. But if the question only asks about positive or negative impact, then we need to analyze them respectively. Okay, and however, then in that example, then I think that the question is about the relationship in general. So we need to analyze both positive and negative impact. With the positive impact, then you can rely on the benefits structure sourcing process or structured procurement process. We may include something like the consistency. Every suppliers will be treated in the same way, and that may have to reduce the risk of corruption, bribery, corruption, reduce the risk of fraud. We may promote the fair and genuine competition as well. Second, complaints may have with the collaboration, may have with the traceability, transparency, and so on. And finally, it may have with the training. Okay, the new procurement employee may learn from the process. It may have with the transparency. Every step is known and is reported, and it may support the collaboration as well. Please remember that when we talk about this point, then you need to or if we don't have a scenario, then we need to take the example. We need to take the examples. Okay, that is the positive impact. But you also need to analyze the uh, negative outcome as well. Rigid compliance may um, may have some negative impact on the achievement of added value outcome. And here, then we need to understand some possible conflicts between compliance and the added value outcome. For example, then you can say about the something like bureaucracy when the compliance becomes too rigid because we have too many rules, then the compliance may be too rigid, maybe too bureaucratic, and that may not encourage the innovation, and also it strain the supply as well, and we may not um, develop the right relationship with them. Sometimes heavy complaints, rigid complaints may push the price up because the suppliers know that they need to undergo a very long, very arduous process. So they may raise the price as well. Second, then when we focus too much on the complaints, then that can lead to resistance to change and slow respond to the customer needs. And finally, uh, rigid complaints may have some kind of like the policy may put too much emphasis on some specific outcome like the saving, and this may be very stressful. This may put more burdens to the procurement, and we may skip the opportunity for other added value outcome like the quality or the innovation. Okay, so that is the negative impact. With this question, then it could be quite difficult because in the state guide, they only have the content for the positive impact, but not on the negative impact. Therefore, you need to be quite creative on this, and I may say that my suggestion here are not exhaustive. Is that you may try to include other ideas as well. Normally, then this kind of question may request you to uh, describe or list up like 4 to 5 outcomes. So I think that that kind of that quantity could be enough for you in a question with 45 minutes. 45 minutes. Let's come with the question number 3. It was on centralized procurement structure. It was on centralized procurement structure. When we talk about different procurement system, then it is about the application of um, it is about the different procurement structures in a relatively complex unit. Sorry, in a relatively complex business. Here, then we have like multiple business units under a corporation, and therefore there will be the conflict between procurement in the headquarter and the procurement unit in each the procurement team in each business units. So basically, then we had to measure structures. Actually, three major structures: centralized, decentralized, or devolved, and the um, hybrid one. With centralized, then every procurement task will be done by the by the central procurement department at the headquarters. And the question in March asked about the advantages and disadvantages of this structure. Okay, this one is very typical question, and students tend to answer pretty well on this. So I expect that you may You may have even better idea than me. Okay, but here, then I would like to introduce the way that you should answer this one, like how you should write the answer. Before talking about the advantages and disadvantages, then of course we need to talk about the definition and uh, how does this structure look like. Actually, with centralized procurement structure, then it is very simple. Every procurement activities from outlining the policies to setting the standard to specification to sourcing to relationship management, etc., will be undertaken by the head office. And the procurement team at each business unit has only one task. They need to monitor the um, rate of use in each unit and place the order. Okay, so their task will be very, very simple. With this kind of structure, then we'll have some kind of benefit like economy scale, better use, better specialized team, and better use of expertise. We may have better policies and so on. But since everything is centralized, then it could lead to slow response and shallower relationship and maybe more bureaucratic and focus on process instead of innovation. Okay, so you may list even more than these advantages and disadvantages as long as you see fit, and also remember to refer to the scenario as well. Okay, with the scenario linkage, then you may try to take out the details in scenario and add your own comment. Uh, One tip to write the answer is that you need to highlight the relevant information from scenario. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have the specification here, so I could not illustrate how you could do that. But anyway, then when you read the scenario for the first time, then try to highlight the relevant details and include them in your answer. Question number 3, like this is very standard, and I believe that you will do pretty well on this kind of question. And finally, then we have the question on the um, impact of regulations in public sector. Actually, then when we talk about this question, it has two parts. First, you need to identify the potential regulations in public procurement. When we, of course, if it is the first time you see the question, then you may be tempted to write only about one area of regulation. That was about the procedure alone, like the Public Contract Act in UK or your country Public Procurement Act. However, that is not enough. In fact, then public procurement is regulated by multiple regulations, and you need to think more broadly and approach in more holistic way. Okay, on this regard, then I strongly advise you to look at the L4M4, to look at L4M4 study guide and open to the page 105 and 106. You will see this table, okay, table 3.1, about the key regulations that affect public, private, and not-for-profit sectors. Okay, you see this? Here, then they list 5 areas, 5 subjects, 5 regulation subjects, from data protection to ethical practice to health, safety, environment, and worker rights to marketplace competition, and finally to product standard. And with public sector, then I need to add that we also need to include the regulations on the procedures. Okay, so with this kind of question, then I often see that students are not very well aware of this, and they only focus on only one regulatory subject, and that would be a big mistake. This question may attract pretty poor answer as well, so you need to be careful about this. And the subject here is only the first part. With the subjects, then you need to name drop some key regulations. Here in this table, then they only listed some key legislations in UK, in EU, and US. Okay, only two examples from South Africa and Australia. And before the exam, if you want to prepare for this question, you need to do your own research on your country. Okay, you need to calculate what can be the relevant legislation and regulations of your country regarding this, regarding the subjects. Okay, you may try to do your own research online. For example, then in every country we have the some kind of like bribery or anti-corruption act or anti-corruption law. And similarly, then we may have the in every country we have the consumer rights regulations on consumer rights, regulation on the product standard. But you need to do your own research. You need to do your own research. Okay, that is necessary. And because of this difficulty, then I see that's why this question become very difficult. But listing the relations alone is not enough. We need to analyze the impact as well. And with the impact, then there could be two things that we can talk. First, what procurement should do when we operate in such regulatory environment. And second, what could be the advantages and disadvantages of these regulations? With the first question, what procurement should do, then we may try to focus on something like before. Okay, we need to streamline the procurement process by doing the research on the applicable regulations in the purchase. Okay, for example, when we need to apply, if you are working in public sector and you need to do the tender on some construction like a bridge, then you need to research about the applicable standard, applicable regulatory standard, okay, like the minimum standard, and also on the health safety regulation, on the environment, on ethical, etc. We need to do the research and streamline our procurement process. Okay, by that way, then you can ensure that you 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 will be, you comply with the with the relevant regulations and avoid the heavy fine or any legal problems that you may face. And second part, on the advantages and disadvantages, then I may have some suggestion for you. The regulations may provide some clear and precise guideline, but it may make our relationship with the supplier shallow because we need to comply rather than engage with them in an open and honest way. Okay, the regulation may provide more transparency, better audit trail, and so on. But we may face with longer negotiation, higher price, and administrative burdens. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have the special question here, but I hope that based on my framework, then you may develop your own answer and be successful in the next exam. Okay, and furthermore, we provide some assistance for you. Okay, currently we don't have any online class for F1, but you may try our practice questions on Udemy. Okay, and I believe that my up-to-date F1 questions, okay, include all the topics that we discuss here, and you may consult my question as well as our sample answer in that practice test. Okay, so that's all for today. And today, to be honest, to say it frankly, then I am quite tired, so I couldn't receive a question or answer your concern about this. So we may end our event here, and everyone who attended this event will receive a copy of the recording. Okay, of course, we know your email, so you don't need to do anything. We will send uh, the recording to your email address. Okay. Sorry, I am tired. I'm quite exhausted and unable to answer your concern. If you have any concern, then you can try to contact us on through the email or through WhatsApp. Okay. And thank you very much for your participation. Okay, and I wish to see you again in other event when I feel better. All right. Goodbye.